Awesome. So, ladies, welcome to day two of the challenge. Today, we're going to be talking about how Dawn lost 20 pounds in 8 weeks, still enjoying candy, Thanksgiving treats, Halloween, all of that stuff. It's actually a really crazy story. Just to talk about where she started versus where she's at right now. The reason why I speak about my clients is because I want you guys to know that even if you're above 200 pounds or even below 200 pounds, but like you feel like you just have been too restrictive and you need to work on your relationship with food and maybe you're afraid that you might hurt yourself with your workouts or any of this kind of sorts. Like, I want to talk about stories, like real life people, not just, knowledge that I have. So, I'm going to quickly break down exactly what I'm talking about. Then I'm going to let Dawn speak for herself because Dawn is in the room actually right now and she volunteered. Well, she didn't volunteer. I asked. I asked her if she wanted to talk about it. And she said, yeah, for sure. So we will hear from her in a quick minute. But before I do that, I'm just going to quickly share my screen, kind of give you some context as well. All right. So when Dawn started working with me, okay, we started at 209 and 209 or 206, somewhere around there. And now she's down to 191.2. So she's gone from like 211 to 191. So that's 20 pounds down, right? Since August the 11th. So just a little bit over 12 weeks, but we hit 191 about like a week ago or a week and a half ago. So, those are the results that she's been able to get in that time. Now, you ladies know you can fit in anything you like. There's no food off limits. Dawn's going to show you that, and also that you don't need to work out more than 3 days a week. We literally have Dawn right now doing 3 workouts per week: day one, day two, day three, full body at home. Okay, the foods that she's eating, very simple. She's literally having very similar meals each day to help her get in. Let's see here. To help her get in at least 1,500 calories and at least 135 grams of protein so that she stays full and energized. So, I also want to preface before I let Dawn speak that when you get started, who here in the comment section, I want to get everyone involved, who here ever feels discouraged or motivated when you don't see weight loss immediately? Okay. Who here feels like they do something for 1 week, 2 weeks, they see a little bit of results, but then they gain the weight back and then they feel like just giving up, jumping ship? Who feels that way sometimes? Say me if you felt that feeling before in the chat box. You start, you feel motivated and excited, you lose some weight, and then you gain it back about a week or two later, and then you feel like you just ruined all your progress. Okay, cool. So, Dawn was in the exact same position. All right, Jody, Lisa, Wendy, like she was in the exact same position. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by that. So, when we first started, and I go back to the first day. Okay. So we look at 210 on the 27th of August. So actually it wasn't the beginning of August, it was the end of August that she joined. And so if you're at 210 and then let's see here, where was it? I saw it somewhere here. 207 to 210. Doop doop doop. Where was it that we saw that dip? Oh, I know why. 6 month. She did start at the beginning of August. Okay, so picture this. You start at 209, you're excited. You get down to 208, then 206, then 206, and you're like, I'm down 3 pounds, and it's only been like a week. Amazing. 3 weeks later, Dawn goes up to 210, right? And for anyone that would make them discouraged, you're actually higher on the scale than when you started the program. Yet it's been 26, 25, 24, 22 days in the program, over 2 weeks. You're on your third week, and then you gain more. You're higher than when you started. Anyone would feel discouraged. I had to have a conversation with Dawn because we were talking about not just weight loss, but her relationship with food and the scale. Because if you let the scale determine how you feel and you jump ship, you'll never get to spend enough time doing what was actually working to end up seeing the results. And Dawn's a perfect example of that because after that conversation with her, she went immediately down to 208 the next day, then 205 the next day, and then 203 the next day. And so she literally dropped from 210 to 203 because she let go of that stress. that so many ladies they give up thinking they just lost all their progress when it's literally inflammation, when it's getting adjusted to exercising, when it's maybe you're sick, these kinds of things. Okay. Does that resonate with you guys? You know? Because if that's been you before, I've been doing this for 8 years. I have to have that conversation with a lot of people. And because you're not doing it alone and you don't talk yourself out and beat yourself up and then just quit for 6 weeks and then try to pick things back up when you get motivated again, like if you have somebody to keep you on track, you're going to be able to see these kinds of results. Look, after that, she went to 207, 205, 205, 206, 204, 201, 200, finally broke 200 at the end of September. Okay. She was finally down, what? From August 5th, this is a full month, to September 5th. So 2 months to get down 10 pounds. 2 months. Now, since September 30th, right? The very beginning of October to where we are mid November, she's down almost another 10 pounds. But that's all in a month and a half. So her results have just continued and continued and continued because she doesn't give up. And she's not trying to look for quick results. And the other thing is look at this chart. So many people let the scale dictate their emotions, but when you zoom out and you actually take a look at the data and you don't listen to your emotions, but you look at the data, you realize you are making progress. But if you don't have somebody overseeing this, you're just going to quit too soon. So what would that look like? What would it do for you to, go from this to dropping this weight to going all the way back up past where you even started from gaining to then all the way down here in literally only 12 weeks, being down 20 pounds? This is available to anyone else. You just have to like commit long term. That's why Dawn is where she is right now. It's because she's committed to the long term goals that she has and she's not thinking short term. There's going to be ups and downs. Life happens, life gets crazy. Cool. So without further ado, I'm gonna let Dawn kind of share one, you know, how she got into this, just kind of like what made her start, and then how, like, what helped her learn to keep the Thanksgiving pie and the food and stuff like that, and then be able to still enjoy wine and the Halloween candy to where she is right now. So without further ado, Dawn, you mind turning on your mic and just kind of sharing a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah. So I came to the group through a referral from a friend of mine, Olivia. She had some pretty good results with you as well, and I thought, okay, I need some more support here. And uh yeah, I just found learning how to control my eating was really key. I was definitely more of a kind of stress or emotional eater. Something would happen at work, and I'd go and I'd want chocolate covered almonds, and it's not like I actually wanted them. It was just for that release. Um, and then, yeah, for Thanksgiving, it was all about pre-planning. I knew there was a few treats that I wanted to enjoy. Typically, before I'd buy a whole pie, it's just me and my partner that were having Thanksgiving together. So rather than buying a whole pie, I just bought two really yummy pieces of cheesecake we got to enjoy. I had one, he had one. We went for a hike after,
I
had the
like
wine.
said that. I don't mean to cut you off, but the fact that Dawn was smart enough and she was self-aware that if she were to buy the whole pie, she would maybe have less self-control. So she only bought one slice for her partner and one slice for her. And like it's not like she couldn't have anything. It's not like she had to skip out on it. It's the way that she approached it. She planned for it and she was like, I'm going to have this slice of pie and I'm not going to bring home this huge pie because it'll be hard to control how much I have. So, who here for Thanksgiving? Because some ladies are in the States. Jody, you're in Peterborough. I know you're in Ontario. But some of the ladies watching the replay, maybe afterwards, might think, okay, Thanksgiving's coming. I have to skip out on all this and that. Look at Dawn as an example. She gave herself permission to have a slice. But when you tell yourself that, oh, I shouldn't, I can't, if I do, I know I'm going to gain the weight back, you're only going to want it more because you keep resisting and resisting and then you have friends being like, come on, you can have one. But then one turns into two because you feel guilty. But Dawn, like when you had that pie, you can be totally honest, no matter how you felt about it. Like, was that something that you were giving yourself permission to do? Or, and you can answer honestly, I'm not looking for a particular answer to view, like honesty is everything. Or did you like did you feel fine about it, or like were you nervous about it?
I felt fine about it just because I knew it was just the one piece. What I did feel nervous about was opening up the box of Halloween candy. Um, because I mean, they were there, I was sitting on my living room table for weeks prior to Halloween. I was just like, oh, I just got to keep it closed. But I opened it and didn't go off the rails. Just, and got to enjoy a treat, had my protein along with it, and it all worked out.
Right. And I know at one point you made a post or a comment somewhere saying not word for word, but something like that it felt like it was calling your name or that you were trying to be good and not have it. But then like
Yeah.
how did you go about having that?
Well, I think for the most part I would just try to combine it with other stuff. So it wasn't like um it was like the be all end all. Like I'd have a treat, but I'd make sure that I'd be getting my protein in at the same time. So um yeah, and because I wasn't depriving myself, then I didn't have that same urge, I think.
Mm, that's fair. Yeah, you were getting enough protein so you didn't feel as cravey, you were more full, you weren't skipping meals. So then when the opportunity came and you saw the coffee crisp there, you like fit it into your plan and you didn't feel like you needed to have more than one or two or three or four or whatever because you were like, well, I fit it in now, the cravings aren't there anymore and I don't have to like try to uh be disciplined. I think that people try to be disciplined by not having it, but it's almost like counterproductive. Would you agree to try to be disciplined and not have it?
I do agree, yeah, because eventually I think they'll get you if you try too hard,
Yeah,
if
you
that
try
makes sense.
too hard. Totally. Yeah, you try too hard and then you just end up like overeating. So, yeah, and then lastly, what about the wine, right? I think you said you might have had wine.
But yeah, we had wine as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, the thing is that immediately after that, what did you do after Thanksgiving?
I think I dropped a fair amount.
Right. But like physically though, like, what
Oh,
did you do after eating the meal and like the next day? Like, did you feel like discouraged, like, oh, got to start from scratch? Or like, what was your mindset around immediately after Thanksgiving?
no, not at all. Like it was just okay, let's go for a hike and just kind of pick up with the regular routine kind of thing.
Exactly. And then I think we saw she went from, and I'll just quickly share, this is just proof for everyone here of like what's possible if you just don't resist and resist. In Canada, Thanksgiving is in October. I think it's on the 13th or the 12th or something like that. So, if we look here, she was 199 on the 10th, okay? And then you go into the weekend and she was 198 on Thanksgiving. And then the next day she was 197. And then on the Monday she was 197. And on the Tuesday she was 196. And so like she actually started just before that weekend at 198 and by the following Wednesday she was down to 196. So that's like a 2 pound difference down, even though she had wine, even though she had Halloween candy, even though she had cheesecake. And it's because it's not like she was off plan. She was fitting it into her plan, and then she was just getting right back into routine because it's not like you're eating cheesecake every single day. It's not like you're having wine every day. Because if you did, you'd probably feel like crap. You wouldn't want to go for the hike. You wouldn't want to be active. You wouldn't want to work out. So, yeah, Don, thank you so much for sharing all of that. Like, you're a rock star, and I'm proud of you. And like, keep kicking ass because you're doing great.
Thanks.
Yeah. So, does anybody have questions though, about any of this? Because I think that the conversation today is just giving yourself permission to not restrict, to not try to be good all the time. Because the trick is if you give yourself permission, you can have more control. I think people think, oh, I can't get out of control and eat all this stuff. I can't do it, so I'm just going to cut it out. That actually makes you more susceptible to binging because you kind of like, it's like a kid. You tell a kid, hey, here's ice cream. I'm actually going to leave the room. Don't touch it. So that's like you telling yourself, I can't touch it. But then when you tell yourself you can't, or like a parental figure tells you you can't, do you want it more or do you want it less? When somebody tells you that you can't have something, do you want it more or do you want it less? In the comments. hmm But even more so than using smaller bowls and plates is giving yourself permission to have it. I think that even if you had like a smaller bowl, smaller plate is good. I like that. I like that mindset because it definitely controls how much you put on your plate. But if you're not willing to put that thing on your plate first, or you do and then you feel guilty, that's what I'm trying to fix here because that's the deeper problem is thinking that you shouldn't. And that if you do want to have it, you give yourself too little. Because this is the other thing. Like even that cheesecake slice, it was probably a decent amount of cheesecake. Like, it was probably a good amount. It wasn't just like a bite or two. Because I think that's another problem. It's like, okay, I'll have a little bit. They have such a small amount because they think it's just going to completely derail their progress. I guarantee you, Dawn's cheesecake was like 600 calories minimum, minimum. So, and she enjoyed the whole slice, not a small slice, right? Decent sized slice, especially when they come in singles like that. And Dawn was right. She said more, right? You crave it more because you think you can't have it or that you shouldn't have it. But then when you tell yourself you can and that it's okay, you actually end up eating less because you don't feel bad and subconsciously you don't start rebelling a little bit. Oh, I'm already this far down. I already had one. What's two? What's three? Does this make sense? Say yes in the chat box if this is making sense to you. Perfect. Lisa, where you at? Perfect. Awesome. So that's it. I promise you, ladies, I'd only do 10-minute chats. This has already been like, 15, 16 minutes in. So I'm going to end it here. But tomorrow for the conversation, we are going to be going over, just opening it up. Tomorrow's topic is, that way you don't miss out. I'm going to keep diving deeper every single day, making sure that you ladies get even more and more and more value. But I like to stack on it so that nobody feels overwhelmed with information. Okay, so I'm reading it right here. Tomorrow's topic is no time, no problem. Three hacks to stay on track. So if you feel like on the busiest of days, you just everything else is more of a priority, things are getting chaotic. It's not just time, it's that you're just really busy. Okay, I'm going to show you how that's not going to be a problem for you with 3 tips that I have that keep all of my clients on track, even on the busiest of days. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow at 7:30 for you ladies, Eastern Daylight Time or Standard Time, whatever time zone it is now. So who's coming to that tomorrow? Perfect. See you then. Great. Awesome. All right, ladies, super proud of you all for coming. Dawn and Bonnie and Wendy, I'm going live in the group right now for all of you ladies. So we will see you in there shortly. Peace and love. Have the best night of your entire life.